You're watching news at Prime. Let's bring you this conversation now. The parent of an Eastern Cape pupil injured during a woodwork class has expressed her sadness and frustration over the lack of sympathy and help from the school. The Provincial Education Department has since offered assistance. Eastern Cape Education spokesperson Vuyiseka Mboxela is going to join me in a moment. But first, I'd like for us to listen to the complaint of the parent before we get the conversation underway.
Ulimele ngolesithathu kule veki kupheleyo. Akhange kubekho tishara izayo kumi izondixelela uba umntana ulimele. Ndazawuthathwa ngabantwana besikolo. Ndixelelwa ngabantwana besikolo umphanga olimala komntana. Ndaya ke KwaKomani. Lwakhona kuncedo lwenziwa ngumzali womntana ofunda phaa ongugqirha kwezi kliniki ikhona ezi kliniki kunjalo ndazi laa kliniki esuke eWhittlesea. Wanenza kuncedo wabonakala uba ingaphezu kwakhe wasifowunela iambulensi.
So that's the complaint from the parent. Let's speak now to Vuyiseka Mboxela, the spokesperson of the Education Department in the Eastern Cape. Ms. Mboxela, good evening to you and thank you very much for your time. No person informed the parent of their child being injured at school, nor has there been any visit since this child got injured from the school. Is that a fact? Have you established these as facts?
Thank you very much, Oli, and good evening to our Newzroom Afrika viewers and the people of South Africa. I think, Oli, let's firstly say we wish to send an apology to the parent if she so believes that the manner in which the incident was handled by the school. On behalf of that school, we send an apology to her. But an event happened, an incident which took place in a classroom where the learner is studying woodwork. And then therefore there was a process where the learner was then taken to the hospital. And then on the 21st of March, the district officials were with the kid at the hospital. And the psychosocial support continued until that learner was out of the hospital. And also there was an interaction with the parent. And if you listen from what the parent is claiming as what leads to her dissatisfaction is her not being told by the school. One thing that I can tell you, Mr. Mgambe, is that sometimes just generally as people, we change our numbers and sometimes we have network issues. And in between that, what was urgent before the school was for the kid to be at a hospital. And the fact that you have heard the lady saying that another parent came in the space is because of the urgency that had to be given in making sure that the learner gets into the hospital as urgent as possible. And of course, we take a responsibility for the school not being able to inform the parent promptly. And that is why the district director dispatched a team to that family to interact with that parent and also make sure that there is a support that is given to that learner, because it's a grade 12 learner and we know that it will take a bit of a time for that hand to heal. And then therefore there's a support that the district director committed to be given to the learner, because woodwork need one to have a hand. And then therefore it means there is a dispensation that we're going to do as a department.
Yeah. Let's establish the extent of the injuries, Ms. Mboxela. What is the extent of this child's injuries?
According to the pictures that we've seen, is that there are two fingers, the one that are between the bigger one and the smaller one, that are mostly cut off, but they're not literally cut off. And given the age of that learner, for those two fingers to be fixed, it is just going to depend on the capacity of that hospital. And I can say, if it's the two fingers that are if it's the two fingers that are cut, we are going to do a day-to-day assessment so that we get to know if that kid would then need the bigger hospital, because as we are getting it is that he was taken in a clinic, and from where we're understanding is that a finger would then have a bone, and then for that to heal and for that to then be properly treated, he might need a hospital in Queenstown, not in where the incident took place and not in where he was instantly taken to. But however, we don't want to quickly jump. We want to give them the space, and then as they progress and the district consistently give us a report, we then take a decision as a department, because there are two issues. It's either they treat it as a minor injury based on their own assessment as doctors, or they would then transfer the kid to the tertiary institution, the tertiary hospital that is in Komani.
Do you know whether the child is back at school now?
According to our own report, is that the learner was discharged from hospital, but discharge from hospital doesn't necessarily mean instantly he must be at school, and that is why there was a team that was dispatched to the family so that we can make a decision on whether give support to the learner as the learner would have been at home. Because remember, now we're a bit closing the first quarter, and the performance of that learner is very important because this is a learner that is doing a grade 12. So that is why that is treated with that instant and also given that academic attention of making sure that if the progress of the healing takes a little bit, then there is a special dispensation that would have been done for that learner once he's at school. And it's something that is very easy for us because we've done that. And remember, we went publicly that we are rolling out ICT. So he's one of those learners that one way or the other, even if the school would have not been instantly in the list that was to be given, but for the sake of the learner, he will be amongst those that are considered. So from where we're seated is an urgent attention for the department.
All right. There are a few inconsistencies that I'd like for us to sort out before we continue the conversation. So is there an admission from the school that they completely failed to alert the parent to their child being injured at school? Is that an admission from the school itself?
From the report that we have, we don't want to quickly put them in a guillotine and completely say that they have failed, because we could understand that what was instantly in their mind is that the learner must be at a hospital institution. And in order for us to understand whether there was a consistent or in terms of how they handled the matter, we would need a different investigation, because what is before us as a department now is an incident report which we obligate to the district that immediately there's an incident, they must give a report to the department within 24 hours. And it's exactly what we're speaking on now. If then there is a need for us to go deeper in the matter, then where we will be able to say there was a negligence from the side of the school, and then therefore this is the punishment that we're putting. It's only when we do a thorough investigation on the matter. But as of now, we deal with the district has produced it before us as the department.
Yeah. Let's deal with the hospital element. Moments ago, you spoke about the child being treated at a clinic, and that if the extent of the injuries do require that they go to an actual hospital, then that will be done. So at which point does the child get discharged from hospital?
You get to be discharged in a hospital, and then you get to be assessed whether are you healing according to the spirit that the hospital would have determined for you. And if you're not, you can then go back to the very same hospital, and then you get to be transferred. It's something that you know, and the difference between you and me, or me and that kid, would be the issue of an age. in terms of healing. The body of that kid is totally different on how a person whom has got comorbidities and all other issues would instantly heal. So that is why I'm saying there will be an analysis of the progress of the healing based
Mboxela,
on how the hospital would have said at this period, this is how this healing process of the kid should be, because the operation that is done in that finger is not a huge operation.
Ms.
That
Mboxela,
which cannot heal a person once is at home. It's an operation that can happen and heal once at home. If
Ms.
then
Mboxela,
it's not healing, that's then the hospital can transfer a person to the next hospital.
Ms. Mboxela, let's get this right. This child has not been to a hospital. Do we agree?
The child has been in an institution of health, which is regarded as a hospital, and you must understand.
But you said it was a
Mr.
clinic.
Ngambi,
You said it was a clinic.
No. There are institutions in government that they are regarded as a clinic. I might be saying it is a clinic and find that in terms of the standard of health, it's not a clinic, it's a health institution. And that is why I'm saying it's determined according to what has happened to the kid. Because you're not going to be able to take a kid to go to maybe a hospital in Komani for an operation that can be done in a health institution where the child is residing on. So that is what I'm saying, that the progress is determined by the institution where the learner was taken to. If there's a need for that learner to be transferred from one hospital to the other, it will be determined by the healing process. That's the only thing that we are obligated to respect. Is because anyway, we don't have a knowledge on how that healing must be. And it may also happen, that he would have been taken to Komani and be treated there and then be sent back that this is where you are going to be treated, because even the Department of Health has a categorization of what can be taken to which hospital based on the capacity and also based on the state of a wound or in the state of a person.
All
as
right.
Determined by the health facilities.
All right, Ms. Mboxela, I'm under pressure to close this conversation now, but I need to alert you to the department's own statement. It is a statement that comes from the Eastern Cape Education Department. It is dated 22 March 2025, and I will read one sentence from it. The circuit manager and the CMC manager will continuously visit the school to monitor the condition of the learner as he might report for school on 24 March 2025. Psychosocial support will also be provided at home. So this child is back at school from what you are telling us here. Am I wrong?
The report is saying that might. And all of that word might is dependent, Mr. Ngambi, on the progress report and also on the healing process of the head.
Yeah.
Because it's not like this child can't go to school, especially if the health institution where the child went to says you can go back to school, and especially if this child is able to say, I can use a pen, I can use a paper, because it's not like it's the complete head that is not there. It's not the case. It's only
but the child
two fingers
may not be
which
able to write.
They are healing. No, Mr. Ngambi. That's not the case. The child will be able to write examination as it and when there's a time to write an examination, and that child will be given necessary support to make sure that he doesn't drop in the performance that is expected of him. I did say that even in the department currently, we're rolling out ICT in all our schools, and I did say that if we see that there's a need for us to jump what would have put as a plan and go and directly intervene in that kid, the department is amenable to do that. The entire process is dependent on how the health institution is indicating the progress of that learner, and two is dependent on how they can be able to say the learner is progressing, and as the learner is progressing, we believe that at this particular time, he can be able to go back fully in school. He can be able to use the very same material that is using. Because remember, it's the first It's not the last quarter, it's the first quarter, and the first quarter, second quarter, and the third quarter. We'll do interventions in between to make sure that the learner's performance doesn't drop on the basis that he had an injury at school.
All right, Ms. Mboxela, unfortunately we have to end this conversation, but it is one story that we are going to have to continue to monitor. Thank you very much for your time, and as she started on, issuing an apology to the parents of this child, because the parent is clear. They were never informed about their child being injured at school. But now the important bit is whether or not this child is going to be able to write the exams. This is a matriculate.